Welcome once again to this edition of Culture Wars, the Insurgency, part of our Thought to Action podcast series from Project Sentinel and the London Center for Policy Research. I'm Chris Cordani, your moderator, host, the Gene Rayburn of the program, throwing out the questions.
Heyo.
With us, our band of insurgents, President Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, President, of course, of the London Center for Policy Research, and Project Sentinel.
And soon a third world country somewhere, hoping. That's I'm aspiring
America?
to be the president of another country, too.
Tim Scott is aspiring to be the president of a third world country, too.
Yes.
He's just announced that the day we're
Like
taping this,
America?
he wants to run for president of the U.S. I like Tim Scott. We're going to talk about that in just a few moments. Susan Olsen is with us, as always, the fine actress and radio talk host, frequent appearer, if you will. I know that's not a real word, on several great television stations and programs. Cherie Currie, by the way, Susan also appeared on another very cool podcast we can talk about later on. Cherie Currie, who is the stellar singer and of course, former lead of the Runaways, author and actress, as always. And Nancy Quatro Glass, who's with us as well. She is the rock and roller, awesome musician, and all-around very cool person. This is what we do. We are fighting the culture wars, we're examining them, and we're talking to you about them. So if you have a comment or a question or anything you want to send us for this or a future program, please don't forget to put it in your comments and maybe give us a like and subscribe to this program. Let's start now. Tim Scott wants to run for president of the United States. At the day we are taping this, he makes the announcement. He seems like a decent fellow, or at least he seems like a good idea for vice president. Thoughts?
I'm not familiar enough.
I'm not familiar with them enough to make an opinion.
Well, there you go. That's a big thought. That's important because I see the guy. He's actually done a pretty good job as senator, but you have a point there. Not a lot of people know who he is.
I think it's going to be tough for anybody who doesn't have name recognition, no matter what color their skin is. And I like, I'm in North Carolina. He's from South Carolina. People here, I think, may kind of know who he is, but I don't think he's done anything notable. I don't think he's done anything that stands out regarding public policy or achievement. So it's kind of like, why is he running exactly? I think
he seems like a nice guy, Tony.
Yeah, right.
That's the thing. He's a nice guy.
Nice guy.
But the bottom line is, not a lot of people outside his area, or a few people who watch him, or whose job it is to watch him, know who he is, and that's important.
But if that's intentional, I'm all for him. I mean, if he's being censored, then he's probably my guy.
And he is. He
Yes.
does kind of torque off the wokies, if you will.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
God bless him.
He has actually a record of saying things and pushing back on the progressive left, especially when he is black and they continue to treat him like he's not black. So it's like,
I know him.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I like him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not a bad guy. It's just, again,
Well-spoken.
Susan, I don't think he's done much to make a record. I mean, he's he's been notable, he's been in the news, but he's not created a space for himself like DeSantis or other folks who have been actually kind of out fighting in major engagements in the culture war. So
He doesn't seem tough. He doesn't seem, I couldn't really visualize him being a tough leader. But again, because we don't really know much about him, that's my take.
But for a vice presidential candidate, seems appropriate.
To be fair, a lot of these future candidates, I'm going to say a future candidate, will join a primary just to get that name recognition, to get up on that national scene, knowing that he or she may not win in 2024 or the particular year they're going for. There are two clear front runners, let's put it that way. But Tim Scott joins in the debates maybe for the first 7 to 20 states, drops out, either becomes a cabinet member, a potential vice presidential candidate, or somebody who can run in 2028 or 2032.
Well, there's nothing wrong with starting and coming from behind. A guy named Bill Clinton did it very well back in '92, as I recall, right? I mean, that was.
Can Tim play sax?
Well, he played other things too, just saying besides sax, and they also begin with X and end with X. I mean, begin with S and end with X.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm just observing. Just saying.
Do you know who I'm kind of interested in is Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yay!
So,
To be honest
I
with
am
you,
so
I mean, a
for him.
Democrat that literally has conservative values.
Absolutely.
He's a common sense guy, and I like him a lot.
It's like watching the beginning of Apocalypse Now. Boom, boom.
Those are Tony's pronouns.
All over.
That's
I would
right.
volunteer for
That's
his
right.
campaign.
Yeah.
I might not be able to vote for him just because I can't endorse the Democrat Party, but he acknowledges how broken the party is. And we need that party to get healed. We need the people that don't represent the insanity to listen to someone who makes sense. I think Bobby, and I'm so sorry, I think I cut you off, Cherie, but I'm so excited about him because I think he's the best thing to happen to this country in decades.
He
But this
certainly
country
brought
hasn't needed
the
something like
vaccine injuries and all that stuff to the forefront. I mean, the guy's just
Ukraine.
he's fearless. I love
He
the
even
guy.
goes against the whole climate crap people, and he's an environmentalist. And he's going, well, what's happening right now has nothing to do with the environment. It's like, yes, I just love him.
what? So, I met him. I met him going into the Trump White House when I was going in for a visit on, I don't remember what topic it was, but we spent some time together going through the visitors line. I spoke to him. And I actually said, and I was the national security advisor of the Trump 2020 campaign. I said, I respect everything you're doing. I think it's great that you're here having the dialogue. And remember, he's one of the few Democrats who actually met with Trump to talk about this stuff. I think Trump made some really bad decisions, as we know, especially regarding vaccine issues. And I think we just had a disclosure that I think a lot of folks felt that Trump was lied to by Tony Fauci. Big surprise there about the potential effects or benefits of mRNA. So, but no, I agree with the sentiment of what you're saying. He seems to be well-rounded and has a strong foundation of common sense. The problem is this: do you think it's wise for him to be running as a Democrat?
I think his whole.
I mean, I think
that's
a sincere question.
I can answer
I'm
that.
not trying to be.
I do. I think it's important that he's a Democrat and is who he is, because the Democrat Party is shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
I
he
think
says
it's kind of okay. Now this is a Democrat that maybe Democrats who sit a little more where we do can get, go with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad. Actually, I think if he went as a Republican, he wouldn't have.
Well, all right. So
what did you just say, Nancy? You think what?
I think if he went as a Republican, he wouldn't have a chance. I think it's important for the party to have someone like him who sits conservatively.
All right. So let me ask you the question. Because, I was just texting with Tulsi Gabbard over the weekend on some other stuff. You all know we're trying to do some events together with her. And I've heard people say a great ticket to go back against Joe Biden would be Kennedy and Tulsi. What do you think?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
It'd be great to see a woman actually with a brain and an agenda that is pro-American instead of this witch crazy woman that's in the White House now.
And watch the space. We're trying to plan something with Tulsi along that line. So we'll see. I can't announce anything until it's all done.
I've loved her for a long time.
We're working on something.
I think there are plenty of more conservative thinking Democrats who don't have a voice because of what the Democrat Party is now. That's why I do think it'd be really important if he ran Democrat.
But Nancy, I don't think
I so agree with you.
Yeah,
me too.
But you know what? They could dump him. And if they do, then I hope he runs as a libertarian.
So, but Susan and Nancy, I think the Democrat Party is no longer the Democrat Party.
No,
it's controlled
it's the
by an
Communist
extreme minority that are more akin to the Soviet Union than they are any value we have in the United States.
Oh yeah, we don't recognize the Democratic Party at all. And what I love about Robert is he seems to come from the 50s. I mean, when the Democrats and Republicans actually got along, I mean, they would reach across the aisle. He's, John's, a nephew, and he knows what they were trying to do. And everybody loved John F. Kennedy and his, and Bobby. But I think for the Democrats, he's going to hold up a mirror and show how much they've changed, because they are evil. And I mean evil. The Democrats have turned into just the absolute worst of the worst of the worst. I look at them like the CCP now. I really do.
Yeah,
Me too.
I agree. It's like they're possessed. I mean, I've just never seen, I never thought, I'm going to be 70 this year, and I never thought, I knew things were going to go real haywire just because of all the research I did 10, 15 years ago. But if you had told me it would have escalated to this point this quick,
Yes.
I just would have been like, no way. Just the gender issues alone. I mean, this is just, it's truly amazing what's happened and how quickly.
Yeah.
Also,
I voted for Obama like a crazy person because I didn't.
I would have.
Because I was just wanted an end to the racism. I really did, because I could tell they were running on that. I know, right? I mean, I cried when he was and that it was over with, and all he did was.
I bought the whole thing.
All right, I will also say that RFK Jr. We don't know enough about him in certain respects, and I'd like to know more about his stance on the Second Amendment, because I question that. I question his stance on gun ownership rights.
I understand what you're saying, Chris. But the thing is, like, Tulsi's come along. Let's use Tulsi as an example. When I first started advising Tulsi, she was completely anti-gun. She was one of those progressives who saw we need to get them all. And now I don't want to say she's opposite, but clearly she's self-educated and understands that weapons, and she said this publicly, now it's not about the gun, it's about the right of self-defense. And I think once you remove the idea that a piece of technology is the thing you should focus on as, it's bad. Well, guns are ambivalent to the user, like drugs. Drugs are ambivalent to the user. If you can push bad drugs, you can push good drugs, but obviously it's the, people who are pushing them is the issue. It's just like the person who has the gun is the issue, is a good or bad person. So this is something I think he would be reasonable about. I just don't think he'd be going for the gun grab like the left is right now. And by the way, as we speak, on the 30th this month, they're about to turn about 40 million Americans into potential felons because of having a piece of plastic called a brace that makes a weapon not more dangerous. If it does anything, it helps bring some accuracy to it for those who are disabled. But that's what they're about to do regarding the left and the progressive left on what they're trying to do regarding guns. And I just don't think Kennedy would go for that sort of thing. I don't know that, but I don't think so.
What does that mean, Tony? Though I'm not following you. What's a brace?
Oh, let me show you. Hold on one second.
Yeah, please.
Oh, this is the best part. This is great.
I don't know.
Having said that, while we're waiting for Tony to come back with the brace, I would like to hear a little bit more clearly what
not that I have guns close by, but
let me grab my glasses because I want
We're going to close up on Tony for this. So those of you who are watching the video will see the close up. Those who are listening, you'll have to listen to Tony kind of move the brace around. All right.
not that I keep guns close to me, but maybe I do. So just saying.
Holy cow!
Makes sense.
So this right here,
yes.
this is my small kind of. This is what I defend the house with. Just saying. Just
Wow.
Anyway, so it's getting close. Got a nice sight on it and light.
And that's a brace. That's called a brace.
This is a brace right here.
Yeah,
This right here is designed so that you can put it around your arm. I can't do it this minute because I'd have to take it off and assemble it. This right here is called a pistol brace. This right here is designed so that you can use this weapon with one hand. Now, I know from experience that shooting a weapon with one hand is it's not easy.
No.
And the idea here is to bring some level of stability for the weapon. Now, so literally there's different versions. This is one version, but literally it's a piece of plastic. This piece of plastic does nothing to affect the ballistics of the gun, or as a matter of fact, this weapon as it is less has less impact. It's not as dangerous as a full-blown rifle with a longer barrel.
God,
But somehow,
you look good, Tony.
what's that?
God, you look good.
No, thank you. Well,
I'm sorry, I've got the glass.
it's the cigars. It's all my cigars.
Loves a man with a gun.
It's pull-ups, cigars, and protein shakes. Remember that. We
I
should
think
do
it's the
a show
gun.
on that.
Definitely cigars.
Making look really hot.
Anyway, anywho, thank you. Anyway, we should go shooting. If you all come out, we're going to go shooting.
Yes.
We can
I
shoot in my
know,
I'd
yard.
love
Not,
to.
oh no,
Yeah,
I can't say
there's a
that.
range
My
right
neighbors
near
will get upset.
Station.
Well,
And I've never
come
fired
out,
my
and we'll go
shotgun,
shooting.
so
Yes.
maybe you can
Anyway,
show
so
me.
my point is, besides looking good and holding a gun, that the ATF is about to take this piece of plastic and say that it's a felony to have this piece of plastic.
Why?
Because they can't stop you from owning a gun.
Why?
Because
Why?
they cannot
It's chipping
constitutionally
away.
stop you from owning a gun.
Yeah.
They just can't.
Yeah, it's
So-
just the beginnings.
Right.
Little
The-
tips.
So
the idea is they're trying to get you to, they're trying to get people to, trying to push people or see how far they can push people.
right.
Yeah.
What we'll take this, and this, and this. Everybody's grandmother always said, give them an inch, they'll take a yard.
Yep.
So, but that's the point of this
You
whole
don't give them an
conversation.
inch.
And I'd like to believe Robert Kennedy would be smarter than the average bear to understand a piece of plastic that does not have any impact on ballistics, range, or bullet. Like the bullet the bullet always does what it does. I think he'd be one of the first to say, this is really stupid.
Yeah.
And I know others who have seen this for what it is, recognizes that a piece of plastic does not make one a felon when it has no effect on anything that you do in your normal everyday life. But that's what they're trying to do here. And again, goes back to our opening premise that the left has become the CCP, the Soviets.
Yes.
At this
Oh,
point.
yes, absolutely. They're doing everything.
And
the
another
CCP
thing
wants.
about the left too is they just vomit out hate.
Yep.
Yes.
And I've never, and
And
like,
accuse
I think
others
we
of
talked
that.
about this before. My father told me hate is a very, when I was a kid, I'd say, God, I hate this state. I hate that. Hate's a very strong word. And when they started using hate, that word, so just like it's nothing thrown. I mean, where do you go after hate? I mean, hate is it's like you want to kill somebody. You want them dead. That's what my dad taught me. But they're causing all the hate. They're causing the racial divide. They're causing hatred towards trans, towards gays, because we just can't take anymore. And again, the reparations deal. It's just, it's so ridiculous to be bringing up the over 170 years ago now. What is it? When the Civil War?
Yeah.
Susan?
Yeah.
But it gets people votes. That's what it does.
Huh?
It gets people votes.
Yeah.
I agree with Cherie. It's to create hatred. See, and this is what the Dems do. They pretend they're helping somebody, but they're really making things worse for them, and it's very intentional. And stealing money from people who never owned slaves to give it to people who never were slaves
exactly.
in a state that never had slavery.
Yeah.
Thank you, Newsom.
That's right. What about us? And of course, you have the other complicated question is, what about many of us who had relatives that came over the boat that weren't even here during? And then you talk about the Irish slavery. There's a lot you can discuss.
And what about our ancestors that fought in the Civil War to free slaves too?
Right.
That died and lost limbs and all this. But what scares me so much is that they have built up this idea of white supremacy to a place where blacks are going to feel that it's okay to kill whites because we're white supremacists and that we're evil. And it's macabre. It's really just the worst of the worst. I can't even believe this is happening,
Cherie,
to be honest. I'm at the point of the fill line with all of it. And for me, and I'm a big supporter of the LGBTQIA always, but now it's like, I can't. I just can't support this. I can't support, it's outlandish. All of it. It's too much.
Yeah.
And
Cherie,
it makes me sick to my stomach. And if it makes me sick to my stomach, I can't support it.
Well, think about this, Cherie. This is like Charles Manson becoming president. Because if you remember, Charles Manson wanted this black-white revolution.
That's right.
The helter-skelter thing was all about that. So this is like Charles
Manson's dream
Manson
is
became
coming
president
true.
and was able to implement his policies all across the board. That's what's going on.
And we don't have
Absolutely is.
right. We don't have overt violence. Here's what we have now. We have a normalization of what Cherie was bringing up just a few moments ago. And I wanted to throw this at you. I want to throw this at all of you. I know you all don't live in New York. I do. It was a big story here, and it went viral across the nation, whether it be on the internet or on mainstream television. There was a fairly young pregnant nurse. I'm sure you heard about this by now.
Yep.
A young white girl. She was trying to purchase an e-bike. So I told you those e-bikes are annoying over in the city. She tries to purchase an e-bike. She gets accosted by 4 feral miscreants. Okay, I don't care what color they were, but in this case, it's relevant. So there were 4 black youth or young people, or relatively young people. They surrounded her, took the bike. She screamed. She asked for help. Not only did nobody help her, but these miscreants had videotaped this event, sent it to the media, or somebody sent it to the media, and it became this viral event, making this one young girl who was threatened by 4 huge dudes look like a racist. It went across the country unapologetically, without evidence, without any real investigation into what really happened. And it turns out the story was the exact opposite. So I submit to you, I ask you the question: has this already manifested? And will certain people in this country who are not of protected classes ever get a fair shake in the media, or a fair shake when it comes to any kind of similar situation in the future?
Well, if I can give you a little anecdote.
I think the answer is no.
And already, like in the library system where my sister works, they had a person come in. I won't describe them, but they started talking to themselves. They're using the computer, and clearly not real well. And so other patrons were disturbed by all the noise. So they finally had a librarian go up to this person and ask them to please lower their volume. And they went ballistic, picked up computers, threw them. I mean, did a whole lot of damage. And the result of all this, yes, they did get arrested, but the head supervisor comes to the library to have a talk with all the employees and say how poorly that was handled, because this person had escalated the situation. So when somebody is disturbing the public, you can't tell them to stop, or you'll escalate the situation. So what you're doing then is giving permission for lawlessness. And that's not going to turn out good.
Yeah.
Well, this is in New York where this happened, right, Chris?
New York City. The same place, by the way, where that nice Marine fellow got arrested for protecting other citizens in a
And
subway
isn't the
car.
mayor, or isn't somebody already, is it in their lawsuits going on now with this?
There's a lot going on. In fact, there are prosecutors who are, or there are activists who are yelling for the people on that same subway to be called in and arrested.
Jesus.
Without doing anything. You had that one guy, what's it, Daniel Clegg, the activist, when it came to that nurse. He was screaming about it, and these people aren't even apologizing or retracting what they said. This is the problem.
They're calling her, the white pregnant girl, they're calling her, if I'm understanding right, a racist, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what twilight zone is she a racist? For men.
No, it's
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Nancy, if you're white, you're racist. It's
Right.
just that simple.
But
That's the narrative. If you're white, you're racist.
It's
That's
her
right.
duty to sue every news outlet that said that.
Yeah.
They deliberately dragged her name through the mud.
anything that you do to defend yourself and you're white is racist.
That's right.
Maybe she's the next Covington kid.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
That'd be fantastic.
But it's your duty to follow through. Like it's our duty to impeach Biden.
Tony, you're a protector, okay? You're a protector. Your career has been protecting others, okay? You can get in trouble for helping. I want to talk about this culturally. Look at this. In this particular instance with the nurse, the mainstream media in New York made a huge headline portraying the victim as the racist, okay?
Yeah.
And trying to make the criminals racist, trying to make the criminals look bad, and also trying to make the criminals look good. As always, there was more to the story. And the news media, most of them were either kind of like pushing it aside. Some didn't even bother retracting. NBC took a while up to this point as well. I don't think they retracted yet. From what I understand, it took them a little while, if they did at all. They also should be noted that it took 4 of these miscreants, 4 of them, to steal from and intimidate a young pregnant woman, a girl. Okay.
Yeah.
this is
And
this
6 months
incident
pregnant.
I submit to you, this is a microcosm of what our entitlement and knee-jerk woke mainstream culture has become.
Well, I mean, Chris, part of this has to be people like me who engage in defending others cannot apologize for who we are.
Right.
The Marine basically said the other day, I would have stopped anybody no matter what their color is. And that's why it's like, yeah, I don't care if I see you doing or saying something which I think is inappropriate. Will I take and do something? Probably. And that's not going to be, it's not because I am judging you based on your skin color or if you like gerbils or not, just saying. I'm serious. I mean, I just don't care. I took a basic oath of office, which I don't remember seeing any expiration date on, to defend the Constitution and defend the citizens of this country. And Cherie and Susan and Nancy, I think you've all alluded to the old 50s. Like, I appreciated the idea that we had a political system which we could vigorously disagree but not kill each other. And the idea is people like me signed up to protect that system.
Yes.
And I know a number of folks like me who just like, I wouldn't be political. I would prefer to not be political. I prefer to be completely outside the political system. But the moment one side decides they're going to destroy the system, I guess I got to get involved because I can't allow the very system I signed up to protect, and that includes the citizens, to be destroyed. It doesn't make any sense. It goes against the very values that I've had at the core of who I am from the beginning of being a teenager. So it's kind of like, do I just pretend I don't see the system devolving into chaos and hate, or do I take a side? And so I had to take a side, and the side is we're here. I don't even know our side. Basically, as I understand it, we just want to make sure that we have a political system that we can continue to have that protects our rights and allows for the debate. The other side doesn't want to have the debate.
Tony, I got a great question.
Okay.
That latest Army recruiting tape with the trans or cross-dressing. What do you call drag queen?
Drag. Yes.
I personally just again see it as such a joke that the United States is an absolute circus, and that I'm telling you, I'm ashamed at this point. I truly am. I'm not ashamed. Look, I support people to do what they want, not kids with their bodies, but I support, just keep it to yourself. I don't want to know the details.
Right.
I don't want to see you dressed in, right. I don't want to see you dressed in drag. How is that going to be? How is the Army? Because it was an Army recruiting tape.
Well, there was Navy too.
Would you sign up? My question to you, Colonel, would you sign up today if you saw that tape?
Well, no, I signed up during the Reagan resurgence when we were actually.
Would you sign up? Would that encourage you to become a military?
Matter of fact, Cherie, did you hear that they're replacing Anchors Aweigh as a theme for the Navy with Dancing Queen? Did you hear that? No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
It's a joke.
I thought they were replacing it with in the Navy by the
I got you.
people.
I got you.
It's not that outlandish anymore.
In the Navy.
I mean, what's coming down the pike next? It's like to the point.
But
where
it would be a
we're
good
literally
idea.
living in like Alice in Wonderland or something.
Yeah. No, it's like Cherie. Nobody. This is the problem. This is why they can't hit their numbers now. Nobody wants to join because they want to. If they don't, guys don't want to wear high heels or sneakers or high heels or skirts. And let me tell you what the very thing we've seen with Bud Light happen. The thing where you've seen 25% of their sales just drop off, and it's not done yet. The very people who drink Bud Light are the ones we want to join the military. And I'm not saying that to be derisive. I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm just saying you want people who are the heart and soul of the nation from the Midwest who are willing to come in and do those hard things of serving in the military.
I'll say it. Masculine.
Masculine. Yes, masculine.
There you go.
You want people who are out doing, the hard things of raising cattle, of farming, of being technicians who build buildings, who do hard things. You want those people who have a strength and intelligence in the military to do those hard things to defend the nation. The same things they do to build the country, you need people who can build a military. And I'm telling you right now, the idea that that they want you to be, to somehow project that they want people who are weak, who are mentally ill. And let me be very clear on this, and I'm not saying, again, to be mean. Everybody I've met who's had transgender issues have mental issues which go beyond their ability to control. And if you start going down the path of transitioning, you have to take on a daily basis certain drugs which both manage your body's natural hormones, as well as in some cases mental stability. Look, there's enough stress in the military already that as a normal person, you're going to come out with probably some mental something. Just saying. So if you go in with the military and you've already got a mental issue, it's only going to be worse more quickly. So I'm not saying this to be mean. I've served with members of the military with both of gay and lesbians. I don't care who you sleep with. Like I said, I always make fun about gerbils. No offense to gerbils. Gerbils are, nice things. It's just certain people have fetishes for gerbils. I'm just saying. So I'm looking forward to Gerbil Rights Month, when the left finally figures out what the hell's going on.
That's coming soon, isn't it?
For God's sake. Yes. Jesus. Anyway,
in trouble for this one.
duct tape and whatever. I'm just saying. And not that I know these things. I don't. I'm speculating. It's all speculation here. Anyway,
the idea is the government itself has become its own weapon, or served itself as a weapon, or made these agencies weapons in the culture war. They're already coming down on the regular people. Now they're weapons in the culture war. It's always fun, and I've been watching the actual committee hearings on weaponization of government, and it's horrible. And I'll submit to you that certain whistleblowers are not going to get the same treatment as other whistleblowers, depending on who's in charge. The far left, the Adam Schiffs of the world, go through great lengths to protect fake whistleblowers. We can't even mention Eric the Charming Fella's real name. But apparently, and I'm going to play this clip for you, if you're on the left, you can accuse somebody of posting something, even if they didn't really post it on their Twitter account. There's a crazy Rep Sanchez. I want to play this clip for you, and it's this woman actually just came when she found out she was wrong when she attributed this quote or this tweet. She actually doubled down on it inside of 30 seconds. Let's hear it.
Mr. Allen, have you ever used Twitter? Yes or no?
I have utilized Twitter, yes.
Okay, and is your account at Marcus A970500645?
That is absolutely not my account.
Okay, that's not your account. Well, on December 5th, 2022, an account under the name Marcus Allen retweeted a tweet that said,
that is not my account, ma'am.
You haven't let me finish the question, sir.
The football player.
You haven't let me finish the question. And the time is mine. On December 5th, 2022, an account under the name of Marcus Allen retweeted a tweet that said, quote, Nancy Pelosi staged January 6th, retweet if you agree, end quote. Do you agree with that statement? Yes or no?
Does it matter?
That is, I don't, no ma'am, that's not my.
Yeah, it's like,
Wow.
it's not my account.
So, but she didn't even know. She knew it wasn't his account, and she could have just withdrawn the question. Say, I withdraw the question.
No, well, let me
down because she
Let me
can't
make a comment on this. So I think I'm the only one amongst us who's actually had to testify in the very same conditions as a whistleblower, and I can tell you what they don't tell you. Maybe they told him is your career is over, and you're going to be attacked by those knuckleheads like that incessantly because they can. They don't care about what the truth is. Both sides give great support to whistleblowers whenever they're out of power. But the moment they're back in power, you are an enemy of whoever's in power. That's it. And so this Sanchez person should be ashamed. I'm sure she's not, because they do this every time. When I had to do my thing for Able Danger, and for the audience to know, you can Google it, Anthony Shaffer, Lieutenant Colonel. It's all out there, my testimony in front of the House Government Reform Committee talking about this very set of issues. And by the way, notably, when you guys watch that, it's on C-SPAN. Off to my left was Mike German, an FBI undercover guy who was also a whistleblower. And notably, this is back in 2004, 2005. The FBI had the same problems back then as they do now. It's just they weren't as obvious. But, you know, Mike was my testimony guy next to me, and I was in uniform, and I talked about all this. So, you know, I would do it again, even though I know my career ended prematurely, you know, whatever. I went through and did what I thought was best. I would do it again. At least I can sleep well at night. I get to talk to great people like you. I would never have done that had I not stood up and done the right thing. So I appreciate the fact that it's tough for these guys, but they're doing the right thing and they're going to come through okay. But they're going to have to take these outrageous slings and arrows of knucklehead Democrats in the process of doing what they're doing. So.
But did you hear the guy say that he would not do it again? I found that so sad.
It is sad. I mean, you know, Susan, I think some people want to get into this don't recognize that they're going to be the issue no matter what. And it takes a lot to prepare for that. You guys are entertainers. You guys know. You guys know that you are going to be on stage and you're going to have to suffer criticism. You all know. Mm-hmm. People like me who are federal agents are not prepared for that. I had no idea what was coming. And so the moment you hit that wall of reality where you and your name is out there in front, you guys, it's a transition. You guys go through it early because you entertain and you have to understand an audience and how to react, and you're going to be criticized. I mean, Cherie, I read your book, and I know sometimes critics, the people who criticize you, get to you. It hurts because they're wrong, but you at least you know that you're going into battle. You all have to deal with that. I think every one of you have gone through and done that. So it's different when you're not used to it. And so I think this guy is probably reacting to that. I think he'll come around eventually, but it's a transition.
You know what sorry, Susan. I was just going to say what I miss so much is integrity. And that's the ability to turn around and say, well, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You know, that doesn't exist anymore on the left. They don't apologize.
Right. No,
and you're right. They double down. No integrity. Not a thin wafer of it from Monty Python. Not a thin effing wafer of integrity is left on that side of the aisle. And to me, it is literally they're insane. These people are out of their effing minds. And they've got to be removed.
But if I may, there's something I've just been wanting to say so much, because I used to always say the left and the right have no idea how much they need each other, because it was that constant push and pull,
right,
really, that made America great. Nobody, you know, checks and balances, and now we just have spineless and bullies. You don't have that dynamic tension.
Right.
And that's why, like, I love Bobby Kennedy, because we need the left to not be insane.
Right.
I agree.
We also need the right to not be spineless.
Yeah.
Back to you, Cherie. Sorry.
No. You're so right. You're absolutely right. And what I love about Bobby Kennedy Jr. is that, I mean, he weighs, I mean, he's got common sense. I mean, the guy has integrity. He stands up for what's right. And he points out what's wrong with his party. And it literally, we need someone like him to be in office, whether it's the president or whether it's, you know, on the Senate, whether it's, all I know is without people like him, we are doomed. We are literally doomed, this country. It's absolutely, we are laughed at. I watch the Australian news. When I was in Europe, the jokes that they make about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the whole administration is so embarrassing to sit there and watch how they talk about us behind our backs. It makes you ashamed. It really does. Yeah. That's why there must be a change. And people like Rob Reiner, you know, I see his tweets, and it hurts me so much because I know Rob and I've worked with him closely as a friend back in the 90s. And I'll tell you, I watch him say, vote blue. No matter what, vote blue. And I have to I want so badly to say, why?
Well, he believes that on January 6th, he believes Republicans went into the Capitol armed. He says that
It's
regularly.
insane.
That is an absolute non-fact.
Well, that's
But you
okay.
can't
See,
tell him
this
that.
this is where the culture wars are very hard to win on our side, and this is why we have to keep pushing. Because when somebody like Representative Sanchez or Rob Reiner makes an accusation, they never get checked.
Right.
Remember, and this is nothing new. If you want to pull back to the latter year or two of the George W. Bush presidency, I'm not a fan of George W. Bush, but major networks stopped carrying some of his speeches, and they started doing live fact checking. Those fact checkers seem to have taken 8 years off after that. They came back on when Trump came on. The idea is to culturally normalize the idea that Republicans lie, but Democrats are altruistic. That's why Sanchez can get away with doing what she did, because the media will let her do it. The Republicans are wimps because they're afraid of being chastised.
And that's what I'm saying.
We need them to grow spines. And
Don't be ashamed.
Yeah.
So let me, I've said this on a couple of the programs, but I think it's apt to quote again here. I watched a film recently from 1957, and the film is an army counter propaganda film. It's very cute. And this title is How to Recognize Propaganda. Isn't that a great title? Anyway, so the one of the conclusions of this film is, quote, for a communist, a thing is, quote unquote, true only if it advances the communist cause. So what that means, that truth is relative to whatever the issue or subject is, as long as it only promotes their political cause. And that's what the left has now adopted. They've adopted this communist philosophy.
It's okay to lie. It's
Yeah,
all right to
right.
full-face lie to anyone and everything. That's psychopathic, by the way.
It is.
Even Sam Harris believes that.
Who?
Sam Harris. Well, Sam Harris, he's been looking like a
goofy.
cartoon figure lately, too, from everything I've seen. I mean,
He's like, I wouldn't care if
yeah, there it is.
Yep, there's your film.
That's a great film. By the way, you guys would really get a kick out of it. It's a fun film, you know.
Yeah,
Now I'm going to tell you what you need to know. I'm Sergeant Longbody, and here we are again talking about everything about how I get grease in my hair. I have 2 packs of bacon a day for the grease to go into my hair.
Real cream this time either.
I didn't do it. Whatever you saw in the bathroom, it was not me. And I did not go into Liddy's bathroom. What is this, Mystery Science Theater 3000 now or something?
Oh, this is great. Yes. Mystery Propaganda Theater 3000.
I'm in.
Oh my, that would be fun. So,
Yeah, let's do it.
Feel free to comment, like, and suggest. Maybe we start the new show. What do you think?
You know what, you guys, I've got a question for you. The fact that that Biden can turn around and say, I'm not going to debate.
Oh,
Just like the gal in that won in Arizona
right.
against Lake.
Katie Hobbs.
Yeah,
That's
she just
right.
says, I'm not gonna debate.
Yeah.
She didn't, and she won, which none of this makes any sense to me whatsoever. How
it's
can
not
this
new.
this man that truly, because like I said, I've got Alzheimer's in my family, dementia in my family. Since I was a kid, I've seen all the signs. I knew when he was running that he had dementia.
Yeah.
All I had to do was just say that on social media, and I was attacked like you cannot believe. They didn't care.
Right.
They didn't care that I absolutely knew that this man was going downhill. They don't care. And now he just turns around and says, I'm not going to debate. I'm not going to debate, and that's just it.
That should disqualify you.
Between
It should,
Biden
shouldn't it?
between Biden and Feinstein, this is bordering on elder abuse, using these people as puppets at this point.
Absolutely.
And that's
Well,
not,
that's why
you
they
know,
don't want to debate. You know,
Right.
we all know that. It's like he would be completely feckless to debate unless they have something. And I'm one of those. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm paranoid or conspiracy theorist. There's something they do with his ear. They put something up there to allow him to hear what they're saying to him. There's no way that he's
got an earpiece.
able to function without having something in there.
I agree.
And I don't believe for a minute he's able to function without high-level experimental drugs
I
just to
agree.
keep him focused
Look
on
at
his
the
message.
pupils.
And that may sound like paranoid. I don't think it is. It's not conspiracy. I'm telling you, we're going to find this out. So
I told my husband that just the other day. I said he's on some of the probably the most high-powered, best drugs.
yeah,
Mm.
Because
no doubt.
by now he should be like out of the picture, and he's not.
But this thing is,
Our eyes are like marbles.
But this is the thing. It's like Simone, what's her name, was on MSNBC. I saw the clip of this where she talks about, oh, Biden's the head of the party. There's no reason to debate. Really? Are you kidding me?
Again, protection. The media is running defense for whatever the far left puts out there. I'm trying not to use the mainstream topics, the mainstream words anymore. We have to use the proper terms. Far left.
I wanted to
no
ask,
more saying progressive.
I wanted to ask everyone's opinion on Tucker Carlson.
Love him.
Love him.
Yeah.
Oh, I do too.
Hope that he helps forge a new path for
I don't watch
alternative
Fox
media.
anymore because
No,
he's
me neither.
gone. I really realize I haven't canceled my Fox Nation subscription yet, only because I want to make sure I've seen all the Tucker Carlson originals before I do that. But I miss him. I think he is the only person besides Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Shaffer that gets up there and really knocks them out of the park with the facts, with what's common sense, because it doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't. And we're starving for it.
It
you know?
does on these alternative platforms, which I believe in totally. I don't even have cable. I stream, and I stream largely.
I stream too.
I have my Rumble account. And
So
there
why
are
do you
people out there saying the truth, but
Why do you
it's
think
on alternative.
what do you think the real reason is that they got rid of? I get the lawsuits and all that. I mean, do you think it's just down to that? He was going to be too much of a liability for them?
Yeah.
Well, I've texted with Tucker since he left. He hasn't told me. I have asked him to come on with us, to join us at some point. And
Oh yeah.
come on, we know he knows who we are, but he's limited on what he can do right now because of contract stuff. So I'm working on him. But with that said, I know he didn't tell me this, so don't be taking this as Tony Shaffer said. Tucker said this. He didn't say this, but I get the impression that there was something to do with the Dominion lawsuit and agreements in that, because it was right after that was settled when they showed him the door. And I don't believe in random fate. I think there's something there. So, but that's total speculation on my part. So.
Yeah.
But
And the intention was to silence him, not to fire him.
Of course.
Sure.
Just to,
But
to shut him up.
Common sense just isn't allowed.
But
But
that
you know,
goes
I
back.
don't even know a single Democrat that's happy with Biden, that they're literally embarrassed and ashamed. And even some people in my family, the younger kids, can't stand him. And I hate to use the word hate, but they hate him.
Hold on a second, Cherie.
Huh?
I know plenty of people who are sitting there who actually have the nerve to tell me, "Oh, Biden's doing a great job." In fact, he brought down gas prices. I said he brought down gas prices to Bidenflation levels. No, it's Putinflation, not Bidenflation.
Oh,
no.
yeah. Oh, Putin's the bad guy.
And I'll even give you, don't compare 2020 gas prices to 2021 and 2023. Compare 2019 gas prices to 2021 and 2023, and then you tell me how high inflation went.
I have plenty of friends that are in favor of him.
In
And
favor.
when I actually ask them how they can be, their answer is because it's not a Republican. That's their answer.
That's insane.
That is their
That's
answer.
insane.
Look at the border.
Yeah.
They're just looking for a better place to live.
don't
Okay, fine. You keep your front door unlocked.
Susan, to that point,
People are looking for better things.
Susan, every time you have illegal immigration, you basically lower the value of labor. You've lowered the value of blue collar work because those who are not part of a union will take the job and undercut you.
Right.
They will then also delude citizens' rights and services in big cities. The folks in Cherie out in California, there was a protest recently by some of the folks in minority communities saying, why are they doing this to us? They're not taking care of the black community. I think it was San Francisco. They're saying, why? Well, it's
Or
like, because the left only uses you as long as they need you.
That's right.
They don't care.
No.
I firmly believe that LBJ said what they depicted him as saying when he signed into law, the whole welfare program.
Yeah.
Strongly
It was
agree.
never intended to be a step up.
No.
It was intended to be a thumb on your head.
The problem is now, and you hit your head right here on us. Anybody to the right of, let's say, Elizabeth Warren has been effectively demonized as being a bad person.
Yeah.
People who vote Democrat and say, I wouldn't vote for a Republican have been successfully indoctrinated through miseducation and through cultural means.
Like
This
Rob
is why
Reiner.
we're fighting the culture wars here,
Yeah.
to believe that we are bad people.
That's right.
Are we bad people? Is the guy
No.
protecting
Well, we're
people in a
actually the
subway a
good
bad
people.
person? No, but he's been. Is that poor little pregnant girl who was accosted by 4 men a bad person? Well, according to the media and according to our culture, yeah, she's a bad person. She happens to be blonde and she happens to be female.
But Chris, it's okay to defend the borders of Ukraine and send them $113 billion because their border is important, not ours.
Another
Think about it.
45 million in military
Right.
recently too. At the time, just before the time of recording.
Yeah, what about as long as it takes? Give them all of our tax dollars for as long as it takes. What the hell does that mean?
Think about
Does
that.
mean that the
Yeah.
United
When the
States
cocaine
goes
kid was
absolutely broke.
in
That all of
Japan,
Right.
when
Think
do
about
we
the
get a
insanity.
chance to vote on this shit.
Yeah.
All right.
We
When
don't.
do we get a effing chance to vote? This is insanity. Honestly, it's been
But-
over a year with Ukraine.
Right.
I
Like,
would
think
Don't
never-
you
about-
think it's just them trying to suck out the last bit of resources, of money out of this dying country so they can pocket it?
yeah.
Ukraine
Well, that's
is
what they're
their
doing.
laundromat and their,
Well,
and their
that's
bank account.
fine, but that's
Right. And I
fine.
mean, the debt ceiling, forget the debt ceiling. We don't want a debt ceiling ever, 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 which means let us spend anything that we want
Right.
as much as we want. You guys, though, you taxpayers out there, oh, no. We're going to tell you what you can buy, what you can do.
Right.
That with this digital currency crap.
Right.
But yet these people are drunk on their ability to spend trillions. They're drunk on the billions. They're drunk on the millions. It's, to me, they are as sick and need help. All of these people on the left that are running this country, they're drunk on power and money. For them to turn around and say, we're going to do it as long as it takes, is not a sane human being. Everybody has to stop at one point in their lives doing something and say, wait, I've done enough. Even like with my dog right now, who's very, very ill. My son is taking care of her, but there will come a time where he's already spent $15,000. There comes a time, she's 16. It comes a time where you just say enough,
Yeah.
but they're saying, no, that's not. So it
Well,
doesn't work.
and they're killing Ukrainians.
Yes.
All right, see, there you go.
Zelensky, as far as I'm concerned,
I
is a
see.
mass murderer
So
because
let
he
me.
just wants his
Say
people
say
to
again,
die.
Susan, what's a mass murderer?
Zelensky.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all of them.
But
I mean,
yet,
yeah.
Biden, and maybe Tony, you know the answer to this question. Did Joe Biden, I can't call him the P word. I'm sorry, I can't.
Former vice
Herbert?
president.
I can call him
Go-
Herbert.
Yeah, or Herbert's okay.
Hey, Tony,
Yes.
do not go to the negotiation table with Putin. This was early on, within the first 2 weeks of that war. Did it or did it not happen? Because my son claims it didn't happen. I believe it did. Did he or did he not?
There was a desire early on to go to the negotiating table. Yeah, there was actually discussion of trying to shut this down down early, and I think everybody wanted it to go on who were kind of influencing it. So there's been a number of overtures by the Russians to say, "Hey, let's negotiate," and they wouldn't do it. So
I want to throw this into you all. I watched that farce of a town meeting where CNN tried to ambush Trump, and they got ambushed themselves, where they had to cut it off 20 minutes. One thing I took out of this, and I want to know what you think of it. Did it not disgust you that this interviewer kept asking Trump when it came to the war about, don't you want to win? Don't you want to do this? When the guy's saying, we can't have a war because people are dying. We have to stop this. She just wanted to keep winning at all costs. And when you say all costs, she's all the way, 6,000 miles away, the other side of the world. She's safely nestled in her city nice apartment while these people are having their lives destroyed and people are getting killed on a regular basis. And all she's thinking about, don't you want to win the war?
But you know what? Is it nuclear? Susan?
Nuclear. Yes, it is.
Nuclear bomb doesn't give a shit
Right.
about where you live.
yeah,
Why
So-
don't these people realize that?
they don't. So let me break this down a little bit, Chris, if you don't mind. So on the tax issue Cherie was just talking about, there's no link between money that's appropriated by Congress and spending, zero. So that makes any taxation And by the way, Biden proposed via Yellen $2 trillion more in taxation on us.
I heard it was,
No, I'm just saying it's over 2 and maybe more, but I'm just saying that taxation simply is a punitive measure to harass and keep us down because they don't need the money. They don't need the money, as we know, because they're going to print as much as they need. So that makes anything they take from us punitive. It's a punishment. They're punishing us, trying to basically remove our ability to live our lives like we want. It is what it is. And then they're taking this other money, some of it's from us, from the dollars they print, and giving it to third countries to defend their border. And Cherie, to that point, it's like, how insane, how completely maddeningly insane is it that they're spending trillions on overseas expeditions to defend other people's borders, but are doing nothing to protect ours? Not a thing.
But
Think
I think
about
they've got enough now, though. I think that's why they've got enough people to bury the bodies from this vaccine. If things go the way the deep state wants it to go, because they've just made an about face. It's pretty unusual, I think. I don't understand why they would just flip like that now and say, yeah, we need to defend this border. So what is it? Is it that they've got enough slaves? Because that's the way I look at it. I think
neighborhoods are being affected.
Slaves that have come over that will take care of, what Americans wouldn't do.
Well, I think they want a permanent underclass, Cherie. They want somebody who always votes them back into office. That's why they're trying to get them into all these urban centers to increase the number of representatives in Congress, and then send some into the red areas to dilute the number of folks who will fight against them. So I think it's an overall, scheme to do that. And
but also what's scaring me a little bit is when you look at New York City and all of these very, very ritzy hotels that have had to, when our vets are in the streets.
Yeah.
What is the end game here? I mean, honestly, what is the end game? When it doesn't make sense, there's got to be something diabolical going on. I mean, the hatred that people are starting to have to deal with all of these immigrants that are now homeless on the streets. They've got tents. I mean, it's just, are these people insane?
It's to bring about totalitarianism because all of these people believe they have a seat at the table. A lot of celebritards think they have a seat at the table too.
I like that word. That's a great word.
Isn't it? Though?
Wait. Let's step back. I like that. Celebritards.
Yeah. And what is it? Democrats? Is that your other word? Democrats?
Yeah, Democrats. Yeah. It's a shame because there are still a lot of good people that unwittingly call themselves Democrats and don't realize, don't feel the shame that they should for aligning themselves with such a party. And it's very fashionable to say, well, both sides are bad. I'm sorry, no. There's one side that is specifically doing everything they can to destroy this country and all of Western civilization. And it's not the Republicans. The Republicans are feckless, they're spineless, they're not good, but it's the Democrats that are doing all the damage.
Oh, they always say the enablers are just as bad as the people doing the job. So
Exactly.
you think about it that way. I can't get over celebritards. That's the word we're going to have to submit to Merriam-Webster. They won't take it though. We do have to wind up pretty soon, so I wanted to get maybe some final thoughts from each of you. So let's go around the room. Let's start with Susan.
Just like I said before, we need that balance. We need that push and pull of the right and left. And if we have, people on the right are making the mistake of going, well, the left are wrong, get rid of them. No, we want the left to heal. We want a good, healthy left with a good, healthy right, and maybe we could get our country back.
But the far left has taken over, and they always say everybody who's not as left as them is the far right. Nancy?
Yeah, the whole far right. I actually have a really good friend who refers to me as far right. I'm just like, I really can't believe this description now. I don't even call my left friends far left. They're just left thinking. I'm conservative, but it's gotten just, all they listen to is what's on the social media, That's because those are the buzzwords used, or what's on the news, because my friends actually do. And I say friends lightly because a lot of them I've just deleted because there's no point. I'm done talking to a wall. If
You
you
know what I do to
can't
these
open
people?
up enough to hear a little bit of what I'm saying, I'm so not far right that it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You're
You know what I do to
exactly
these-
liberal.
You know what I do to these people when they come to me and say, Chris, you're really far right, or how far to the right are you? I said, well, you ever hear of Carlson? You ever hear of Bannon? Tree huggers! Damn tree huggers, I say. And that's what I tell them. That usually holds them off for about a half an hour.
Yeah, my friend, because I've been very vocal on Facebook about this whole transgenderism stuff. Because I could fill an hour with just stories that have happened here in Texas, which everyone thinks that everyone always goes Texas, like so shocked. But yeah, are we more conservative? Yeah, but what's going on here, even in the schools, public schools, not private, isn't.
Cherie.
But
Yeah, they're
I
fighting for our
have
kids.
my gynecologist. My gynecologist was a male. When I got very close to him. He's become a female. He's a very good friend of mine. I don't care what, like Tony said, I don't care what you are or what you I don't care. But having it shoved down the throat, because Target has just introduced toddler gender clothes and baby. And I'm going, does the baby or toddler, they're already questioning their sex? Why would you even make those clothes for that age group? That's how far.
Target is no longer for me.
It's sick. It's just sick. And
No
it's
more
evil.
Target.
It is sick. It is.
And it's evil.
It's sick.
I have to tell you this one quick story. My good friend has a teacher who teaches in the Texas public schools. They have a child that's 8 years old that identifies as a cat.
Oh, yeah.
They put kitty litter
Yeah.
in the
I heard
stall
about this.
so the kid can pee in the kitty litter.
Oh my God.
Kidding me. And he does it in front of the class.
I'm scared to think of what
He
they would
goes
have
to
done to me.
she goes to the private bathroom, but she has her own stall that has kitty litter. Now, first of all, where are the parents? Are they nuts?
That's nuts.
I mean, what kind of a parent are you that you'd be like okay with that even?
How
Your kid
attention
thinks
starved.
she's a cat.
Well,
This is what I mean when Cherie said insanity. I think I say that word 30 times a day, every day.
but you have a generation of young people who feel entitled to seek attention this way because that's what they're taught. These kids in their hi-fi stereos in their rooms and the Dave Clark 5 and all that stuff, you know, they got everything.
Jungle
they're
rhythm.
spoiled.
College campuses too. They call them furries. There's kids being walked around on college campuses on leashes. They're dogs.
But see, I don't
want to
blame
know what drugs
daycare.
they're taking because it's clearly you're not in your right mind. Something's wrong.
But I think a lot of these people are looking for attention, I'm not going to disparage anybody that has to put their kid in daycare because I am just so lucky that I didn't have to. I was a single mom, and thank God I didn't have to. But these kids, if they're going into daycare before they can even really speak for themselves, it does damage, and they're seeking the attention that they didn't get from their parents.
Yeah, but don't forget, this is being taught in public schools, these sexual identities and all. It's being taught in public school starting with kindergarten.
Well, yeah. And not only that, I have to say, Nancy, you know, they talk about privilege. You're privileged, you know, doing this to these kids. That's privilege.
Yeah.
It's privilege on another scale. And they're going to grow up feeling like anything they want, anything they can say, and they're going to stomp their feet. It's very, very bad. It's bad. And being a parent, and if you've raised a kid, you know that this gender thing at young ages just doesn't exist. It's role play for kids. But my final thought is my final thought time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I'm very disappointed in Ron DeSantis with the 6-week abortion ban. That's unreasonable. Now, look, I mean, it's unreasonable. People, you know, when kids are young, you know, sometimes your period is not normal. That's what happened to me when I realized I was pregnant. I was 3 months pregnant when I was in the Runaways. Awful, awful, awful. I had to have an abortion. Awful. I still am haunted by that. Why can't these people not be so extreme? And I love Ron DeSantis, but that's extreme because that's unreasonable. 3 months.
It's pandering.
Yeah, exactly.
It is unreasonable.
3 months, that baby is formed. That baby has a brain. Everything is intact. After 3 months, no deal. That isn't right. It really isn't right to kill that child at 3 months. So the left is completely out of line, saying, you know, oh, you know, it's my body, my choice. Wrong. If you can't decide within 3 months whether you want that child or not, that shame on you. Yeah. And you've got to have that child, give it up for adoption. But, you know, the thing is I'm so disappointed. Every day I'm disappointed with the pandering on both sides and the extremism on both sides, because that's all we ever hear about is the extreme. Yeah,
and also, Cherie, you're so right, because legally speaking, there has to be a state of personhood. Yeah. Because if somebody comes and kicks an obviously pregnant woman in the stomach, it has to be legally seen as attacking a person.
No one
exactly, and you would go to jail if that baby died in the womb or was, you know, virtually aborted after something like that. You would go to jail for murder. That is what I don't understand. With
Scott Peterson's a perfect example of that. He killed his wife and his baby. He got double murder, but
you can kill a baby at 9 months old. You know, a partial. You know, what is it? The partial abortion.
Partial birth abortion. Yeah.
Partial birth abortion. Hideous.
It's not even partial anymore.
I mean, Stephen King, kind of awful. So my whole thing is I'm just disappointed because I want to see some common sense and normality in this world, in the United States. I don't care about the rest of the world personally. I don't care. You know, we're taking care of everybody. And I'm pretty much fed up with all of it because we are imploding here in the United States. We are being run by a circus. It's an embarrassment and a shame. And any gay, lesbian, transgender people that don't feel any kind of shame with how far this has gone, shame on them.
I've asked several friends of mine, don't you feel like this is setting everybody back? And most of them say yes.
Yeah, mine do too.
It's ruining the cause. Like Me Too movement ruined that. The Black Lives Matter, they ruined Black Lives Matter, ruined the cause. They just never know when to stop. And then it all goes bad. So you know what? Good luck. Good luck.
Representative Burgess Owens actually brought up, he will always tell you, or he's always, when he was campaigning for office, obviously, when he was doing some interviews here and there over the last couple of years, he was saying that the Black Lives Matter movement was, well, I guess the far left, what they did was trade the idea of advancement of the cause for socialism. So they had to kind of fall in line with this. This would happen with a lot of these movements.
Yeah, BLM is a Maoist movement.
And again, my thing with this.
Yeah.
People, if you could ever get a hard copy, get it, read it online. So important. This is what is happening. Agenda 21.
Oh,
Susan. Agenda 21. Agenda 30, whatever you want to call it now. Yeah. That's what it is.
And read the Great Reset. You know, they're not lying. When they when they tell you they want to destroy you, they mean it.
They do. We should focus on that next time with Jen when we get Jen back. And Jen, I'm sure would be wanting to go into that again. So my final thoughts are fairly simple. Everyone, I'm going to speak for all of us, whether you like it or not. Every one of us here, when we started in our teens, wanted to change the world for the better. I know that for a fact, just from knowing everybody. We all were trying to figure it out, and we all went about it often the wrong way, but we learned from our mistakes. I actually invested my time in college to get a degree in environmental studies. And so I know it's strange. I'm a conservative, but I'm concerned about the environment.
Yes.
But it's weird. But the thing is, though, what they're doing actually is destroying the environment. Yeah. The blatant mining of rare earths, of not having a place to take and dump used batteries, these windmills which kill birds and produce virtually nothing in the way of usable energy because of atmospheric conditions. This whole myth that CO2, a gas, is a pollutant. These are all insane things.
Love it.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying is that once I recognized that the green movement was a fraud, I stopped supporting it. It's like, okay, we are obligated as those who have signed up to actually do those things necessary to support people, the ideals of individuals living their lives with maximum freedom and protecting and having good stewardship of the environment we're given, requires you think for yourself. Think about what you're being told, when you're being told it, and what the outcome's going to be, and not believe in some myth. Once you've been lied to, believe they're lying to the point that Cherie and Susan just made. If they're lying to you, they're always going to lie to you. It's like I can't believe people are surprised about Bakhmut in Ukraine. Biden has lied about everything, and somehow, the Ukrainians are going to win. They're not going to win. I'm sorry. I'm not taking sides. My job is to call balls and strikes. That's it.
And it wasn't
We've got soldiers there now, which he promised would never happen. This guy is a clown and a joke. And the Democrats, anyone
and guilty of treason.
Right. So that's my point, is that, every one of us here wanted what was best for the people we loved and supported and those around us. And the idea of being a conservative or going against a narrative simply because you don't agree with it does not make you a bad person. It makes you someone who's actually a real person concerned about those people and things around you, not pretentious. Not, what was that term? Celebritard?
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that. So we're not celebritards, just saying. As a matter of fact, we should have a t-shirt that says we're not celebritards or something like that.
You might want to copyright that one.
That's right. Maybe you're going to copyright that.
Well,
So that's my final thought.
I do make t-shirts, so I think I'll get to the drawing board today.
I think that's a great idea, Susan. You know what? You'll make a fortune. Go do it. Do it now before this is aired.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
I love you guys. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you all for joining us here for the Culture Wars, the Insurgency. We're going to have more of these, and we hope you enjoyed this one.
And we'll have Jen back soon.
That's right.
Back soon.
Yep, Jenny Bellstar Matthias will be back with us, and we may have some more surprises in the future as well. Heck, I can put as many people as I want in here if I really.
Are you going to stack the deck?
I love your hair, by the way, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
The long hair looks great on you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I was supposed to get a buzz cut, but I didn't think I was going to do that. No. I do appreciate that. And thank you. By the way, you all have wonderful hair. So I'm going to pass that along and pay that forward. Tony, yours looks great. Ladies, Susan, Nancy, Cherie, always fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you again for being with us. Check out Project Sentinel at the website, projectsentinel.net. LondonCenter.org is where you can find the London Center for Policy Research. We go in depth on a lot of foreign issues there, find out some of the really cool things they've been doing. And of course, you can find Tony at T _S _P _O _S _K _Y and find out some of the snarky things he's been doing on Twitter. They haven't kicked him off yet. I guess Musk isn't going to.
So far, so good. I'm relatively sedate so far.
Well, thank you all for being with us, and check us out, Project Sentinel. Please subscribe, put a like, and maybe comment. I want to hear what you think of the show. Enjoy yourself, stay informed, and have a great day.